welcome back to another episode of Cosme Commentary Podcast 15. Today, we were meant to have Abdul, but we didn't get him in the end, unfortunately.
Yep.
But we still had a bit of fun. There was parachuting, goals, the absolute greatest goal of all time. Well, technique-wise anyway. It's going to be in textbooks for years to come.
Perfect goal. Perfect goal.
Obviously, the Bundesliga, very, very close. Up the top,
jam.
Through the middle. It is a traffic jam.
I like traffic jams.
A traffic jam.
Yep.
And La Liga has gone back to what it was. And then we got all those out of the way before the best league.
Best league.
Before we got to the actual best league.
Worst league.
The Premier League.
Yeah.
The Premier League. Where we went through a few of the results, but mainly focused on Arsenal, Sheffield.
I prefer the Championship.
Championship. Well, the teams coming up from the Championship are doing.
Leeds are in it.
Yeah. And, of course, the big game, Manchester United and Liverpool. We went into real depth for that one.
We didn't go into enough there.
Yeah. Not enough Liverpool. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Enjoy.
This week was obviously a return back to football as we know it.
Back to normal.
Back to normal.
Yeah.
And I was actually quite surprised at how much happened in this week that was of interest. I mean,
what have we got?
Oh, well,
what have we got?
Well, there was a lot happening in the Premier League, but that's a given because there's just so many mini competitions.
There's too many good teams for things not to happen, isn't it? Yeah. Premier League, yeah.
But also in the other countries in Europe, obviously, Italy had a lot of goals. They had some crazy games.
They did have some crazy games in Italy. Yeah.
Did they have two? There were two games where teams took 3 goal leads, and then the other team scored 3 as well. Although one of them, Inter, obviously they
Inter had a 3-1.
It was 4-1. It was 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1 lead.
And then they made some subs. They took the foot off the pedal, I think, and
Sassuolo got it back to 4-3.
Yeah, but that wasn't the most exciting thing in that game.
No, it wasn't.
There was a parachute, parachute man.
Some guy just decided to parachute just landed in the centre of the pitch.
Oh,
just before Lukaku had his penalty to make it 2-1.
Oh, that was
that was a bit interesting.
Interesting. Was he? Do you know? You don't know if there was any background to that, do you?
I have absolutely no idea. It's just this random person just parachuting into the stadium.
What a fantastic mate! I mean, that'd be a great advertising time. You know, you just if he had a cause of some sort. But
it was a Martian or something. You know, just randomly landing there.
He didn't even. He had blue on, didn't he?
I think he did.
Yeah, but I don't think he was making a statement. He just, so random. Anyway.
Blue's a nice colour.
It is a nice colour.
Yeah.
Especially, there's some really nice kids in Italy. Not Juventus, but Juventus. They don't.
Juventus.
I feel like they're doing an experiment.
You got to suck at something, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're doing an experiment. They're saying, how much can we neglect our kids before people start to hate us?
Well, apparently it's they haven't even scratched the surface.
Still, and they haven't even won the Champions League, so they're not even winning everything. So there's a bit of angst towards that. But the other one was Lazio. Was it Lazio? Lazio came back against Atalanta. The other stripes. There's a blue stripes.
A lot of stripes.
Black and blue stripes.
Yeah.
Just going out to 3 goal leads and coughing it up.
Coughing it up. Yeah, Lazio came back, made it 3-3, and.
Atalanta showing once again why they're the top scorers in Serie A.
Well, they score heavily and they can't hold the lead.
Yeah, they can't. They concede heavily, so they're lots of fun to watch. Abdul, if you're listening, Abdul is sick, and we bid him a quick recovery. But Italy, if you want to see goals, but I'll just finish that thought. If you want to see goals, Serie A, but if you want to see wonderful goals. Serie A, oh my god, 9 goal. That was.
You know, we're talking about Serie A, about the goals, very rare.
Yeah, well, they're traditionally very rare, but that is not the case right now. Just like traditionally, England was long ball. That's
true. It's changed.
It's not like that anymore because they've introduced foreigners.
But anyway, a rocket into the top corner.
9-goal. That was.
If you have not seen this goal, you must have a look.
I just need to see it again.
It's incredible. He hits it.
This will go
and
down.
The ball just keeps rising and rising straight into the top corner.
This goal,
top corner,
will go down.
I got there in the end.
Into the ages, as
it's incredible.
Textbook. This will go into textbooks.
Absolutely, it's a half volley from way. How far is he outside the box? What are we talking?
Well, we don't want to sell them too short. Of course, we have to get through these ads.
It just kept rising.
YouTube.
It just rose. All the way from his foot to the top corner.
No amount of speaking about it will do it justice.
No, you have to see it.
So you have to see it. 9-goal. Yeah. If you look up 9-goal, I think that's spelled NAINGGOLAN.
Mm-hmm.
It is from, maybe like.
You're looking at 25 yards. I would say.
Okay, it is about. 1.5
22 yards, whatever.
1.5 18-yard boxes away from the goal. So
it's just that is incredible.
It's
just
about
watching it now.
27 feet.
Oh,
a yard, sorry, which is roughly like 25 meters from the goal.
They're fifth on the ladder now. Cagliari.
It is.
He's carrying him.
Okay,
this is amazing.
I don't have enough superlatives for that goal. That is just fantastic. Yeah. But that, like I said, if they're going to have that in the future when they have textbooks that are no longer still pages. You know, they'll have textbooks that move. They've got video attached.
Yep.
That will be there for the rest of time for technique to show you how to kick a ball.
My God, no, I agree with that.
Amazing.
It's perfect.
It is.
No, it's perfect.
And I'm not overstating it. This is the greatest.
I don't say that often, but it was perfect. It was.
It is perfect technique on how to strike a football. So if anybody wants to know how to strike a football, look up 9-goal, NAINGGOLAN.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. You will not see anything better. But cause anything else from Serie A other than the fact that Juventus continue to hold the lead.
Yep.
Inter Milan
right on their tail.
And Napoli finally got out of their winless streak and won a game.
But there was one other thing. There was one other little snippet in the city. And it concerns the resident underachiever, the other Milan.
Ah, yes.
The actual Milan.
Well, that's
the prestigious Milan, the 7-time European champion. That Milan. That Milan.
That's still insane. Seven-time European champion.
So last I spoke, I had a little rage about how they changed their manager and all that sort of thing, right? And
I don't recall. Could you
Huh?
I don't recall this rage. Could you?
Yeah, you're taking the piss, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they changed their manager, and admittedly, they did look more exciting. Piontek scored, Çalhanoğlu scored, but as I predicted, they also conceded more. So they're different. They look better, but they're not actually better.
Well, the results are the same, aren't they?
This was a promoted side. Lecce are a promoted side from Serie B.
Let's make something clear here. Promoted sides in Italy are not promoted sides from England.
Because the gap is more than than the Premier League to Championship.
Which is surprising how much with the money that goes in the Premier League compared to the Championship. But continue.
The Championship still get a fair amount of money, though. Don't you worry about that. However, yeah, and Milan were at home. And they drew again, and I'm just frustrated.
As the neutral lawyer that must represent all parties that are being attacked. That's me.
Yeah, that's you.
That is me. Okay. I have to. You know, it's what I do. I always defend the little guy.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't the first game. It was the first game, and it was after an international break for the new manager. So, first impressions, Cos is correct. They do not look particularly promising, but it's definitely a different side, isn't it?
Well, they're playing a different style completely, yeah. But
we'll see the goals scored and goals conceded column
it doesn't bode
increase.
Well, they're a promoted side and they can't beat them. Yeah, at home.
Let's just give some context here for the promoted side. They are Lecce. They're just outside the relegation zone, so they're not doing that terrible compared to what you'd expect. Which of these sides are promoted, Cos? Because I lose track of who's.
Okay, so you got Lecce.
Did Verona come back?
All those three, actually. Verona, Lecce and Brescia.
Brescia, there you go. Yeah. And they're all outside the relegation zone, so they're doing well for themselves.
Just by the way, if you live in Genoa, you're having a bad time.
Genoa's just look. They'll
No, Sampdoria as well. Look at that.
yeah, that is quite.
Both of them just the bottom of the table.
Sampdoria did sack their manager, did they not?
Mm-hmm.
They brought in
Claudio Ranieri.
the ever so reliable Claudio Ranieri.
And they did. They drew to Roma.
Yeah,
0-0, so
it was a 0-0
already
draw.
a decent result.
So they've shored up their defence. This is a
Yeah.
side that's conceded 16 goals in 8 games. So.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
And that was 16 in 7 games before that game. So that was a top of it. Only scored 4 goals though. So a bit Manchester United-ish there. Struggling to score. We will get to that.
What's surprising actually for them. They've actually got some good players,
But okay,
what do you do?
I think that's enough.
That wraps up Serie A.
That wraps up Serie A.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about it too much, but it was a bit exciting this week, so I just thought I'd talk about that. I also did want to say the Bundesliga is I think.
Well, if you love congestion, that's
this is the league for you.
Yeah. Or food, you know.
Or food, yes.
Yeah.
But the Bundesliga had an interesting trend this week where I think nobody in the top 6 won.
Are you serious?
That's how I understand it. So let's just go through the results. So Bayern Munich drew. Dortmund won, but Dortmund I don't think was in the top 6.
No, they weren't at the time.
So Leipzig drew with Wolfsburg, who were definitely both in the top 6. The Munch got munched by Dortmund. So let's just count those 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, Freiburg lost to Berlin, Union Berlin.
Was Freiburg one of the top 6?
They're in that. Yeah.
There you go, so. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and
was Schalke? Were they in the top 6?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're at they're there. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. They lost too. So
they lost. Yeah.
So the top 6 all lost, and now the top looks like this. Mönchengladbach remained the top team.
Yeah.
So on 16 points. Wolfsburg in second. Bayern Munich third on 15 points. Dortmund also 15.
10th to 4th or whatever they did.
And Leipzig on 15 as well. So we've got Leipzig in 5th on 15 points, 8 goal difference. Mönchengladbach also 8 goal difference, 16 points at the top. And Freiburg, Schalke, Frankfurt, and Leverkusen on 14 points. So all the way down to 9.
There's 2-point gap from 1st to 9th.
The top half of the table is separated by 2 points.
Yeah.
It is...
it's incredible.
Even for the German League, that's uncharacteristic. And meanwhile, Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund are still strong in Europe. So this isn't about them being just awful teams.
No, yeah,
Dortmund being in a group with Barcelona, Bayern Munich trouncing Tottenham 7-2 away from home, and these teams are all very close. So this is a very fun league to watch.
The German leagues is not bad. I like the German league. Yeah,
they're spreading love. It's a bit of a.
Well, it's good when Bayern's not dominating.
You could almost call it a socialist league.
Is it? Yeah.
Is it spreading? Yeah. You know, everyone getting this? No.
Yeah.
No. Let's not bring politics into this. So yeah, that was the German league. I thought that was interesting. There was one more league that I just keep forgetting about this league. It's just right. The one that we love to hate.
The
La Liga.
Oh, yeah. La Liga.
The status quo has returned.
Yes, it has.
And Barcelona's back on top.
No, not quite. Atletico's not third. Just give us some time.
Are they not third?
No.
Have they dropped even further?
Well, I don't know, but
I think they have.
Granada is third.
Granada is third.
And Sociedad's fourth.
Ooh. Yeah, you're right. Well, Atletico's... although Atletico are just down on 8 goals scored and 5 conceded.
Yeah, they're the Italians of the league. Yeah.
That is tenacious. Atletico...
And they're on 16 points with 8 goals and 5 conceded.
Yeah, it's...
that's insane.
And mind you, I'm not sure if they've lost a game. They may have lost one game.
No, I think they have.
I think they lost one game. But the rest of the games have been, I believe, draws. So there's just a string of draws. It's incredible. They've drawn 4 of their last 5. But
they don't want to score, this team. No, that's all right.
Well, Atletico Madrid was sort of touted as... There was a bit of hype behind them. They started well, but apparently Simeone, I don't know. Diego, he said that they got to give him time because it's... And he said, and now he's saying as well, I was saying this from the start, this is a team, this is a new team, this is going to take time for us to bond. We're not going to be able to do it straight away. And he's right. I mean, like
he's right.
You could.
He's absolutely right.
Because they bought 8 players or something like that. They sold Griezmann, completely restructured their team.
It's going to take time, yeah. But,
it's
when you got that sort of defence, though, you're always in any competition, aren't you?
But
the way he sets his teams up, you know.
Oh, the tenacious 8-5. That's
insane.
Ridiculous. But it's a bit like Manchester United again. But except they're not getting as much efficiency out of those goals. They've just got these draws. They can't get themselves across the line. That's their problem, and it shows with their efficiency is good. Like you said, 8-5 after 9 games.
It's incredible.
After 9 games.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Barcelona's just having a laugh at the top again. Real Madrid lost to the mighty Real Mallorca, who I believe were in the relegation zone.
Yeah, they were.
If not, then they should have been. And now they are a point above the relegation zone. Really, the bottom 12 teams of this league, I am not exaggerating when I say they are quite just not. I don't know what Granada's doing in 3rd place. There's no reason for that to happen.
Third.
But they've done well. Look, they've done well to get there. They will fall. They will fall. They will fall. But they've done all, and Real Sociedad just living it up while they can. In 4th place. We got to be confused before because there's all these Reals in Spain. Real Madrid, Real Sociedad, Real Valladolid.
Yeah. Valladolid.
Yeah, because I always miss that L, and I always
Valladolid.
said Valladolid. Yeah, it's like a void.
Yeah.
And the Real Mallorca.
Turns out Betis.
And Real Betis, which,
yes.
And it turns out Real means royal in Spanish. So, mystery solved. We've done that research just for you, so you didn't have to. But now we can move on from La Liga, which I always love doing because it's just thing. Last foreign league before we get to the Premier League, Utrecht PSV game. I found this game. I didn't watch it or anything, but I looked at the scores, progressive scores. At half time, it looked like a harmless affair. At 0-0.
Yeah.
People should know PSV. They're one of the 2 strongest clubs in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
They're like the Barcelona or the Real Madrid to Spain, but in the Netherlands. Their rivals being Ajax. Yeah, Ajax is a bit more like Barcelona, isn't it? So PSV is Real Madrid, the Real Madrid of the Eredivisie. Ajax. You would more associate them with Barcelona, free flowing football, the sort of
don't PSV play the same? I never watched PSV.
No, PSV is slightly less so, but anyway. But they don't play total football. PSV, they've never done well.
I never watched them.
Either way,
anyway,
it is the Dutch league. They
what happened
all
at
play
half
total
time?
football. So
it
was 0-0.
What happened at half time?
I don't know what happened at half time, but something snapped in someone because it started with a goal for Utrecht, 49th minute, then a red card, then another red card, both to PSV, by the way, and then they just fell away completely. And
it's done. Completely done.
Utrecht 80-something minute and the 93rd minute, 3-0 it ended up. It was just it's one of those games where it's for us, right? Because some of these games are really early in the morning. So what I like to do sometimes is I'll wake up for the second half because the end result's going to be at the end. And that'd be the perfect game for one of those times where you just wake up at half time and then just watch the rest of the game.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I know it's just breathtaking, isn't it? We're moving on.
Well,
from that,
you never know.
I think it's time to go to the Premier League. Now,
is it?
It is time to go to the Premier League.
Oh yeah.
Unless you've got something
no,
else to
I haven't.
No,
I'm very happy to go to the Premier League.
Very happy to go to the Premier League. It was quite a week this week, wasn't it? We had, obviously, you all know about our little battles. There's the title race. There's the top 4 battle. Then there's the battle for general Europe. And now it seems like they're all just being mashed together, aren't they? There's obviously City and Liverpool doing their thing at the top. Liverpool finally dropped points this week for the first time in this season, so that's a bit of movement on the title race, but we will get to that a bit later.
I just love how competitive it is from the top to the bottom. It's a good league. Well, I like the league.
Well, Manchester United have lost twice this season to Norwich, who are in the relegation zone, and
Manchester City, you mean? Yeah.
Did I say Manchester United?
Yeah.
I apologise.
Yeah.
To Norwich, who are in the relegation zone, and the Wolves, who, to be fair, are a lot better than what the table suggests currently, although they're working their way back up quite quickly at an alarming pace. I think that win sort of helped boost that even further.
Yeah.
But this week, there was not... Manchester City did not lose. It was Liverpool's turn to drop points. We'll get to that game in a moment, though. Manchester City doing their bit against Crystal Palace. Some people were looking at this game, because before this game, Crystal Palace were 2 points behind Manchester City. And people were thinking...
They're playing all right.
Yeah, well, but with the fixtures they had, then it paints a bit of a different picture. And people were starting to think, could if Crystal Palace win this game? First of all, the first mistake was to say, if Crystal Palace win this game, right? I know they've beaten Manchester City in the past, right? But people were talking about Crystal Palace as if they're on the same plane as Manchester City. And
that's a mistake.
Yeah, well, they genuinely thought that Crystal Palace were, look, they'll give the top six a run.
I mean, look, they're capable to beat a top 6 team.
Yeah.
On their day, if things go their way.
And that's the key part.
That's the key part.
Yeah, things have to go their way. And last season, they definitely went their way. They scored 2 ridiculous goals.
Well, those are the sorts of things I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And Manchester City, I think, it was just one of those days where, they, unlike the game against Wolves, where they were probably quite thoroughly outplayed. Not thoroughly outplayed, but they were outplayed. Wolves deserved to win that game. The game was Crystal Palace last season, which they lost. You're kind of scratching your head after the game going, how did that happen?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
this time when it came around, people were thinking, you know what? If Crystal Palace win this, they'll be second. They'll move ahead of Manchester City.
That would be funny.
That would have been something,
that would
wouldn't
have been
it?
funny.
It didn't happen.
No.
Manchester City scored their 2 goals and they were done with it. The big, question mark was over this Tottenham-Watford game, because they're at crossroads, these two teams.
Oh, yeah.
Crossroads, but in the same part. Tottenham, obviously, they got battered by Bayern Munich midweek, and then they played against Watford, and Watford are rooted to the bottom. They are far and far away.
They're gone. I'm calling it now. They're not getting out of that relegation zone.
Yeah, I have to agree. Watford's destined for the dump. But
when you go back to your ex-manager,
the thing is, right, they're arguably playing better. But still,
they sacked this guy for a reason.
Well, this is sort of... Because when the new manager comes in, it's always that's the best moment. You have that momentum for 5-6 games, or in Manchester United's case, 14 games.
Stressed.
And then
you're stressed out, and then release.
Yeah, once bad things happen, then just
and it goes back to.
It's like after exams when you get sick. That's what this is.
After exams,
you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but
because your body relaxes, and then
I normally get sick during exams.
Ugh, you're not doing it right. Yeah.
Well, I can't control it. Then after exams, I'm just I celebrate.
All right, but those were a couple of interesting results. There were another couple of ones that we'll briefly talk about that I found weird just because of the way they played out. Chelsea, Newcastle, and Bournemouth, Norwich. Both games which people were expecting to see a few more goals, but only 1 goal in both those games put together. Bournemouth and Norwich, who had not had a clean sheet the entire season, played out a 0-0 draw. And it's funny how these things happen sometimes.
No, it was fixed. There's nothing funny about it. Fixed match.
Laugh away all the way to the bank.
That's all I care about.
But
I spot the fixed matches.
Well, sometimes these teams they sort of overcompensate. They think okay, we've been shipping too many goals. We need to do something about it. And they both decide to do it in the same game.
Yeah, fixed.
Yeah. It's fixed without the other team knowing that the other one's fixing it.
Yeah, there you go.
They've got this subconscious, this spiritual connection. And Chelsea obviously beating Newcastle 1-0. Another clean sheet for Chelsea. It's their second now. They seem to do well against teams that can't score goals.
Or threaten them.
Yeah. No shots on target for Newcastle, but it was a valiant effort.
Valiant effort, but good effort from Chelsea to find the goal.
Yeah, well,
and get the win.
Good composure, 75 minutes. They didn't panic. Yeah. And they got there in the end.
I must say, Lampard's doing very well.
He is doing very well. Yeah, it's only his second job. He was at Derby before. Did well there.
Yeah, he's on fire, this guy.
But he has had a fairly fortuitous fixture list.
There are no easy games.
There are no easy games. There are definitely no easy games. They did look.
They have had a pretty easy fixture,
other than Liverpool, which they lost at home.
Yeah,
but I mean, look, they started off a bit hard. They played against Manchester United. They got smashed there, as we all know. They drew to Leicester in their second game.
If you look at it, they're actually not bad. I mean, the first game was no good, but 1-1 to Leicester, 3-2 Norwich, 2-2 to Sheffield. Not bad.
That was
I know Sheffield came back, but looking in hindsight,
it
doesn't seem overly bad.
They beat Wolves, who at the time were still struggling. So
the 5-2,
yeah,
2-1 to Liverpool, not bad. Then
they beat Brighton, they beat Southampton, they beat Newcastle. So they just haven't played many, well, other than the first two games, which they lost heavily and drew. And that's their only loss of the season, by the way. Oh no, sorry, Liverpool.
Liverpool. Yeah.
So you can see a trend here. Their losses and draws have all come against stronger opposition. And we've put Manchester United in that bracket because, despite the rumours and all that, and everyone's saying that they're just not good. And by the way, they've still got Burnley and Watford and Palace to come in the next three games. Neither of which are, or other than Watford,
they're all winnable.
They're definitely all winnable. Crystal Palace has been causing headaches. Burnley has been causing headaches.
Well, Burnley at home is hard match.
Yeah. Especially now that they don't have European football, it's just a little bit easy for them. They can just.
Burnley were in Europe.
Yeah, they were in Europe. Well, they were in the qualifiers for last season. And then it just sort of threw off their momentum, and then it completely derailed their pre-season and kind of set them up for a rocky campaign. But they got there in the end. But then eventually they will come up against Manchester City, West Ham, who are, Aston Villa, Everton, Bournemouth. Okay, that's way too far ahead. We don't have to worry about that now. Chelsea have done okay, but they've played against weaker opposition, but they've put them away. They've put them to the sword, and they're looking pretty good up there for the fourth place. So they've earned their spot, you could say.
Yeah.
But the rest of the results, Villa had 2-1 over Brighton, Leicester 2-1 over Burnley, Wolves had 1-1 with Southampton. The Leicester result was the most interesting, I think, because there was a moment at the end where VAR ruled off a goal, which would have made it 2-2 for Burnley. I can't remember if it was a handball or a foul or something, but the goal got ruled out. It was a bit confusing watching the highlights as to what actually happened at the end. But it was 2-1 for Leicester, and they went back into third place at the expense of Arsenal, who are... this was the next biggest game, definitely. Arsenal against Sheffield United. Without going too deeply into it, but I think it's worth touching on it.
Touch on it, because Sheffield are good.
Yeah, and they're
good.
They got ridden off at the start of the season. Easy favourites to get relegated, like just 100% dead set, bang on it.
Yeah,
and we've grown fond of Sheffield, haven't we, over the last few weeks?
We like how they play.
Oh yeah,
they're very defensively solid. I mean, to concede 7 goals in 9 games as a promoted side, as a promoted team,
and of course to give context.
That's insane.
only Liverpool have the same defensive record. Of course, Liverpool have more goals.
Yeah, of course.
13 more goals. But
for a promoted side, that is incredible.
And they've scored 8, which isn't great.
Well, they're promoted side.
But at the same time, it's not like... I don't know. Because I've seen this in the past. I've seen this sides...
what have you seen?
Where sides are, defensively stuff like Middlesbrough. Remember Middlesbrough? Last time they came up. You probably don't remember it, but they were defensively. Remember, they were very defensively. They had a lot of draws. They didn't concede much, but eventually it caught up with them because they just could not score at all.
Well, look, that's the thing. They're vulnerable. They're still vulnerable, but at the moment they're getting it done.
Well, they have 12 points from 9 games.
It's still early.
Well, they have 12 points from 9 games with those 8 goals. So that's very efficient.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not sure how many wins and how many draws, how the distribution is there, but it's a good effort there. They got 3 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. So they're spreading it around. Giving a few points here, a few points there. Obviously, they ran Liverpool close, and I think they're going to give Manchester City a lot of trouble because of the way they defend. They defend very well.
Oh, but City attack very well.
Well, I mean now, at the moment. Because at the moment Manchester City have absolutely nothing at the back. They play 2 centre-backs in defence. Sorry.
2 central midfielders.
2 central midfielders in defence.
Sheffield won't see the ball.
They don't need to see the ball because they defend and they can nick the ball off you, and those players you can nick the ball off those midfielders that are playing at the back. And the way they defend, they do press. They know when to press. They do it well.
They do it well. The press. Yeah.
Okay, when I say they're going to give Manchester City trouble, okay, that's going on the basis that Manchester City are expected to win every game. So. They're still expected to win that game.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so they're not gonna,
You're not actually saying they're gonna take points off them. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying Manchester City still need to stuff up for them to lose points.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
yeah.
So, but they didn't have to stuff up. Arsenal didn't really have to stuff up to drop points against Sheffield, and I don't think there's that much harm. I don't think there's that much. How would you say it? Shame in losing to Sheffield?
No, not at all. Away
from home.
They almost took points of Liverpool.
Yeah.
Sheffield. So this isn't... Arsenal shouldn't be too disheartened by this.
And the goal that they scored, it was one of those...
Was a call from a corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was just the second ball. I don't understand. I remember when Liverpool used to have this problem all the time where they would concede from the second ball. Yeah, because everyone's sort of chasing the first ball. And a lot of top teams, sort of, top 6 teams, make this mistake because, all the players, the defenders, they want to be the one that, gets the ball. But what happens is, when the ball comes in the first time, it just goes to a person who's basically a decoy. And then they just head it back to a guy that's basically waiting, unmarked, near the back post or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they've got a poacher just waiting for a loose ball to come through.
Similar to what happened.
They're just a bit smart, and it's exactly what happened here. The guy was completely free. He nodded it down to him, and if he tried, he would struggle to miss from there. And he put it away.
Yeah.
And he kind of did try and missed from distance, but it was a much tougher opportunity earlier in the game. But Arsenal also had an opportunity to score moments before. I think it was like 5 minutes before Pepe.
Yeah, I think yes.
Right in front of goals.
Missed the ball.
He did get a touch on it, but nowhere near enough. Yeah, no, he's a left footer, and it was one of those moments where your right foot should really be used, but it was not used, and it's just an awkward angle for his left foot.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
and he sort of just skimmed the ball. Yeah. And it was just nothing happened of it. But Arsenal, like 5 minutes later, Sheffield scored at the other end, and they just kept them out for the rest of the game. They defended well. It was a solid effort from Sheffield, and it just goes to show that anybody can beat anyone because Sheffield I mean, before this game, they were on 9 points. That is 1 point above the relegation zone. They're on 12 now. They were expected to lose this game because people don't watch football and they just expect, oh yeah, Arsenal will win, Sheffield will lose. But right now, West Ham in 11th, 12 points. Arsenal in 5th, 15 points. So West Ham are within reach of Arsenal, even on goal difference.
It's congested.
It's very congested there. And it's well, obviously Liverpool and Manchester City are expected to battle it out for the top. But right now, Manchester City is a lot closer to 3rd and 4th. They're only 2 points above Leicester and Chelsea.
Yeah.
And 6 points away from Liverpool. After their draw with Manchester United, who are down in 14th on 10 points.
Yeah.
Now, they are 2 points away from the relegation zone. But it goes to show how close this league is now. And we know that Liverpool and Manchester City are very strong teams. Liverpool are current Champions League winners, right?
Yeah,
so
City, the defending champions.
The defending champions, and so that just gives you like you can't just say, oh, English teams are bad. Just like we were saying before about Germany, the German teams were doing well in Europe, and if you're doing well in Europe, then that's like the yardstick to say that the league is relevant, and that if it's congested, it's not just a case of the teams are all just as bad as each other because their best teams are losing to their alleged worst teams, even though.
Yeah, well, if the worst teams are pretty good, that's the thing.
And Sheffield's beaten Arsenal. Last week, Newcastle beat Manchester United. And this week, Manchester United was the first team to take points off Liverpool.
So there you go.
And it's just, well, we've come round. We finally got there. Manchester United, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Huge game. It was the big game. It's not as big as it usually is, but in terms of significance for both of these clubs, I think it was a very telling game.
It was always significant, these two games, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
these two teams.
Yeah, well,
yep.
Even though Liverpool are so far ahead of Manchester United on the table, that they haven't won at Old Trafford since Moyes was in charge, where teams were just going there and picking up points for fun. That was, I think, just about every team that went to Old Trafford that season got at least a point or something. I don't know. That
was a pretty bad time to be.
That was a terrible time.
Yeah.
But since then, Manchester United have been quite solid at home, and people forget that. They just thought there was a lot of hype before this game that Liverpool were just going to stroll through this.
Well, it's just poor analysis, isn't it?
Oh, it's zero analysis.
Zero. No, they did some analysis. Yeah, it's just very poor.
They just
I mean, look. At the end of the day, in my analysis, right, I expected Liverpool to win, but no more than 2-0. 2-0 max, right? Because A, United have a good defence, and B, they're very hard to beat at Old Trafford. Period. That's it.
Yeah, well, those are two pretty good reasons.
Going back to the other side, I didn't expect United to score because they can't score. However, they did score with their only good chance of the game, but they scored. So 1-1.
It was a fantastic cross. It was pinpoint, perfect. Yep. It had to be, really, to get in behind there. And also, it came off the back of a controversial decision. The Origi was fouled down the other end, and United got the ball. Liverpool were protesting from the beginning, and then eventually, I think, it was 10 seconds later, United got to the other end and scored. And then it went to VAR, and of course, they didn't overturn the decision because they never overturned the decision in England because they don't believe in overturning decisions in England because they have a different way. And this points to one of the flaws of VAR, at least in England, the way it's being used or not used, is that they don't have the on-field referee go off the field and have a look at the incident again. He goes off the calls of his team or the refereeing.
Yeah, well, they're too hyped up in England, aren't they?
Oh well,
they need their intensity.
They've got an off-site group of referees looking at a camera in Heathrow Airport, and
it's like a drug deal, just in the basement of the Heathrow Airport. Jesus Christ!
It is, and they have absolutely, they talk to the referee obviously, but they never overturn his decision. That's the thing, and you kind of understand it because as a referee, you don't want to be making because people understand that the decisions are bad. Hard to make. You're gonna make mistakes and all that stuff.
Of course,
but you want to make the right decision in the end. And even the referee's on field. He wants the decision to be correct. He doesn't care about being right or perceptions or whatever it is. When people see a guy getting...
But yeah, I know what you're saying. But the reasons why they don't have the screen, on the bench so the ref can review his decision, it's cultural, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they want the quick game. They don't want interruptions.
Yeah, because...
They just want a fast-paced game.
That's the English, or in football anyway, the culture seems to be... practicality second, entertainment first.
Well, yeah, they want a fast-paced game. That's how they play, and
that's also why they don't have a Christmas break, because they got to get their entertainment.
You can't have football you can't have Christmas without football.
Exactly. It's just although
what sort of Christmas is that? Boxing Day matches.
What kind of Christmas? This
Boxing Day. That's
the kind of Christmas you have everywhere else in Europe. That's what kind of Christmas that is.
No, we don't do that here in England.
No.
England,
no. Well, yeah, it is. They want the game to keep going. They don't want these delays because it is a delay, obviously, if the ref comes off. But the ref only comes off when he gets told, "Hey, you should have a look at this. I think you want to overturn this." No, he doesn't just said, I don't know. Maybe you should just have a look because it's kind of 50-50. The ref never comes off for that. Basically, every time, like in the World Cup, for example, every time the ref went to look at the screen, the decision was overturned. All right, and I think the Women's World Cup was the same thing or similar. When the ref gets told that you should have a look at this, it usually means, okay, you've screwed up. But they get to make the decision. That's the difference, right?
That's key. That's the key.
Whereas
I don't think the refs would be happy if someone else in the Heathrow Airport makes the decision and he never sees it.
Exactly, and so I understand why they're not making those decisions, but at the same time, there's these clear and obvious. When people are getting dragged, I wouldn't call this one of the clear and obvious ones because it was like a slight kick. It was a foul, but it was sort of like sometimes you let those go on.
Well,
because,
the thing for me, when I was watching the highlights and I saw it, I'm like, that's a foul.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's the first instinct. So, although Ole had different ideas, he said, no, it wasn't a foul. What are you talking about? It's
not a foul.
Not enough.
No.
He touched him, but we're not playing ballet or something like that. I don't know what he said.
Let's all smile.
We're not playing basketball.
Sort of foul. Let's all smile.
Yeah. Let's all smile. Yeah. Ole's at the wheel. But Jurgen Klopp had a specific complaint. He said, and I think this is true, one of the flaws of this is not so much, look, who cares about the decision? The decision was made, whatever it is. But part of the reason that the foul was not called because the referee knows, hey, if it is a foul, then I can rely on VAR. VAR will correct the mistake. But VAR doesn't correct the mistake. So if you're relying on VAR to sort of be this safety net, it doesn't work because they're not actually changing the decision, and therefore there's going to be more of these mistakes being made because they just let play go.
Which is a fair point, a very good point.
But everyone seems to take it out of context and think that he's talking about the fact that it was a foul or not. Like, it doesn't matter if it was a foul or not. What matters is that the referees are calling play on more because VAR is there. But if VAR's not going to change anything, then they should just call the foul as they see it.
Like Klopp's ahead of everybody right now. He's just calling things correctly, even when people don't see it. No. Yeah, he's out of this world, Klopp, at the moment.
It is so controversial, but there has been more to that game. There was the other VAR moment is, of course, the stupid handball rule, which everyone hates. But I think this one might have been a handball anyway. When Mane got called,
It seemed like it for me.
Like a handball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it hit his arm on the way through. It was sort of, I don't know. It was a bit subtle, but it was clear. Sort of, it helped cushion the fall of the ball, and that's enough. More than enough. But the psychological blow, obviously, of a goal being, given, disallowed. They did well to come back from that and continue to soldier on and get the equaliser at the end.
They did, yeah.
But another thing that was interesting about this game, other than the VAR, the hype, what I was saying before. So of course, Man United was written off 4-0 for sure.
4-0.
4-0. 3-4-0. This is going to be...
Maybe 5.
This is the great... And there was this thing going on before the game.
Yeah.
They do the combined 11, like which plays would you have. They usually do this for top 6 clashes.
They always do it,
But
they got to have fun. You got to have a bit of fun.
But in this one, it was sort of like a consensus that Liverpool, like the combined 11, would be just Liverpool's 11.
Oh, surely Pogba gets the cut.
No.
Surely.
Well, one person did it as a joke. They didn't have Pogba in, but they also then people were saying, well, I don't think Pogba does make it based on how he's playing at the moment. Which is true. Also, the fact that he's injured, so he's
of course,
can't really play. But
what's his name? Harry Maguire?
No, Harry Maguire. No, because Joel Matip has been playing better than him.
Really?
Joel Matip has been playing better than Van Dijk. So
yeah, what's wrong with the Van Dijk?
No, he hasn't been playing badly. It's just that
but he's supposed to be the best.
He is the best.
Well, he's not the best now. You said Matip's playing better.
Yeah, all right.
He's not the best.
All right.
What's happened?
His soul has transported. To be fair, they kind of they have similar similar builds.
We're just having fun now.
They look the same in terms of build. The silhouettes would be similar. Their shadows.
In all seriousness, no. Solskjaer, I should say, does deserve credit. The way he set United up, because he stifled the Liverpool's front three. And he stifled their wing-backs. So he essentially took away Liverpool's attack, and they looked dangerous on the counter.
Yes.
So Liverpool couldn't overcommit. They had to be careful about not conceding, which they ended up doing. And even when trying to get the equaliser, they couldn't overcommit because United would have picked them off and got a second.
And a lot of people mistook that for Liverpool having a bad game.
I can't stand this crap.
People forget...
I can't stand this.
If a team defends well, the other team will not look as good.
It's quite obvious. I mean, look, you got the front three of Firmino, Salah.
Actually, no Salah. Salah didn't play.
Okay, well, just theoretically, you got Firmino, Salah, and Mane, and you got Robertson and Alexander-Arnold on the wing backs, right? If you let them play and do their thing, they're going to look good and fun. You're going to have a great time. If you stifle them, suddenly they're not going to look good. So how can you have fun watching them? They're just not going to look good. United played it brilliantly, and they executed the game plan brilliantly.
Yeah, and some people are taking the credit from them. And they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. United played well. They deserved the draw.
But this isn't even new this season. I mean, United have been defending well most of this season. They have not conceded much.
They have been, but it's more noticeable against teams like Liverpool.
Well, that's when people
brilliantly.
Which is another thing which baffles the whole idea of Liverpool winning 3 or 4-0.
No.
First of all, Liverpool have not been scoring freely in the last.
They haven't, especially away from home.
Yeah,
away from home, they haven't been overly.
Which is normal. That's the sign of a mature side, I would say, because if you're scoring a lot away from home, I would worry because away from home.
A mature team, yes.
Yeah, you need to control the game away from home, and if you're scoring a lot of goals away from home, unless the other team played very badly, the game was not under control. It was just it went your way. It was an open game. You don't want the game to be open when you're away from home. That's something that people don't understand sometimes. And in this game, I think Liverpool got I think slightly discredited because they weren't as fluent and stuff like that. So some people saying they gave him too much respect. They stood off him. But what you said before,
what's respect?
Well,
how do these people define respect?
They should have attacked more, because then they would have won 3-4-0 at least.
Because Roy Keane reckons that they should have started kicking in the tunnel. That's his form of respect. Yeah, Roy Keane.
The punditry, the old timers. They've got to have the good old ways.
You got to love Roy Keane.
Bit of Roy Keane and soundness, and just bring back.
You can't be friendly in the tunnel. That's where you kick plays. And
shake hands. No, do it after the game, or don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Just break his leg if you can, but
anyway, the respect argument's pretty bad. You can't. If a team's defending the way United is, you can't just go all out attack. It's ridiculous.
It reminds me of last season. It was a similar thing, because Klopp has not beaten United at Old Trafford yet in his entire Liverpool managing career. So in all competitions, they've played him in, I think, the Europa League. They played him in the FA Cup or something like that.
He's never
beaten United at Old Trafford.
He's never gotten the chocolates.
But also,
the menu.
I think he's only lost once, maybe twice.
To United.
At Old Trafford.
Oh, yeah.
I think once. So that's actually quite good. Considering how United have been over the years.
Yeah.
People forget about that. But he does look a bit more tentative at Old Trafford. But in this game, I mean, it was justified, because, like you said, United were dangerous on the counter, and
that's right.
And Liverpool,
if you've got a team dangerous on the counter, you can't just attack without thinking about not conceding.
Which is what people were telling him to do last season. Remember when United, they had 3 hamstring injuries in the first half, and then
it was a crazy
insane.
game.
That was a time when United had a lot of momentum, and and at first it was kind of we just don't want to lose this game. And then when that happened, it was suddenly go for the throat, go for the jugular, And everyone was saying, you should put on more attack or something. And the substitutes he made, I think he put on a half-fit Firmino, James Milner, and Gini Wijnaldum or something like that. I can't remember. Those were the subs that he made to bring players on. And after in the press conference, the reporters were saying, why aren't you saying that people, were saying that you should have put on more aggressive substitutions or something like that. It's like, what are you guys talking about? You don't attack better.
Look, he didn't have Roy Keane on the bench. That's the problem, isn't it?
He would have gone in 2-footed on everyone. But he was saying, you don't. This isn't PlayStation. That's what he said in the actual thing. This isn't PlayStation. You can't just put 5 strikers on the field and that will make you more attacking. There's more to it than that. You got to have a cohesive sort of thing. You can't just be like Alan Shearer at Newcastle and throw on. I think he played a 4-2-4 from the get-go in some of those games when they got relegated.
Manager,
Fantastic manager, great career. But sorry, Abdul. But it was. He just got frustrated by that. And in this game, his substitutions were actually quite good. He brought on midfielders, brought in Adam Lallana, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Keita. And it sort of gave a bit more creativity, but also at a time when Manchester United started sitting back a bit more. It changed the game. Both of those things changed the game, because Man United were sitting off. Liverpool got to see more of the ball, and they got to unleash these midfielders who would be a bit more. Yeah,
so he improved Liverpool throughout the game. With his decisions,
and they got the equaliser.
That was key to getting the equaliser. Yeah.
Because you need those players to sort of be a bit more, I guess, creative than hoping that the front 3 do all the work, because that just wasn't working anymore. Obviously, Salah was missing as well, which didn't help, but I don't think that would have made.
He's another.
He would have helped.
I mean, he draws players to him, so
it always helps. It always helps, but
the
way that United set up, it would have probably. Not been as helpful as it would be in other games.
Absolutely, perhaps. No, United were brilliant. The defense that
they executed their plan well.
Yeah, that's what they did.
They need to get credit for that. And and I think it'll be more telling what happens. But I don't think United have played much differently to what they have this season. The only difference is they had a lot more energy because they're playing against Liverpool at home. This is the pinnacle of energy that United will have for the entire season. So, I mean,
Yep.
what do you expect? And people say, "Oh, Liverpool have this hoodoo at Manchester." Are you out of you? Like, how often do people say, "Oh,
it's just
Liverpool have this hoodoo at Manchester City. They haven't
just-
won at Manchester City for X amount of." It's like, who has? you know what I mean?
No, it's just too simple.
And-
Too simple analysis.
but-
There's no analysis. It's just
But
crap.
look at any other top 6 team, right? And
Who's going to win?
look
there?
at their record at Manchester United. It's not good.
I dare anyone to go there and win.
I think
Go there and
maybe Tottenham's had like a few things there, but they lose at home as well to United. So Tottenham's just weird. They'll lose home games. They're not supposed to lose and win away games. Yeah.
Go to Eddie Head and win. Go there. I dare you. I dare you to go there and win.
It's just these stupid stats that people throw around that mean absolutely nothing and are completely out of context and make no sense when they're used. But it just paints this ridiculous picture, and this is one of our key things with pundits and their love of using pointless statistics and throwing out things that sound good, on the face of it, until you think for more than 5 seconds about what they've said.
Yeah.
It's a bit like what we were saying before about AFL, how a team...
The worst punditry ever.
They have no idea.
A couple people do.
Yeah,
but most of them don't.
But and that's the only the analogy there is where teams will play stronger. When they're having fun. We talked about this before. When teams are having fun, it looks great.
They all want to play.
Yeah, well,
that's it. Yeah.
But if a team defends well, you're not going to look as good. It's just, and it's not that you're not playing as well. I mean, you could.
But they're stifling what you do.
They're making it hard for
entertain
you.
the crowd. They're stifled. They're stopping it. That's their job.
It's not as easy to get past the defense that knows what they're doing. So it's just...
I actually enjoy watching it when a team sets up well and
and I thought it was a very even game, this one.
Yeah.
Some people look at it, and the Arsenal-Manchester United game as well. Everyone looked at it and said, this is the worst Manchester United-Arsenal game ever. It was a good game. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you understand what's been going on.
No, they just want the goals, man. They want easy goals. They're like pseudo AFL fans, basically. They just want the goals.
Actually, that reminds me
of
a goal. Remember Ozil, right? It was against
Ozil,
Ludogorets last year in the Champions League.
Yeah.
He gets the ball.
Yep.
It was like a ball over the top.
Yep.
He sort of like dribbles. I think it was bouncing a bit.
Yeah.
The keeper comes out to get him. So
flicks it over.
He flicks it over.
Yep.
And then a defender comes to get him. He rounds him, and then the other defender slides to block the shot, and he rounds him as well.
Yeah.
And then he basically kicks it into an empty net. Right? He does this. It's just amazing.
Did
he scored. He scored the goal,
geez.
and they were up like 5-0 already. So
yeah.
It was a brilliant moment. But why didn't he just chip the keeper and score? Like the first time of asking, by getting over the keeper. And then not taking the shot straight away.
Oh, he's taking the piss.
He's given the defenders time to get back to him, right? And he has to get past one. He gets past one. Gets past second. But that's what I'm saying, right? Like it looks fantastic. It looks amazing.
It's amazing,
it's
man.
Brilliant.
It's just it's what you want to see.
But
when you go to the game and paid the money,
but
it's what you want to see.
But if that keeper didn't rush out like a headless chicken. If those defenders didn't slide in, both of them, there would be no goal. They had 3 or 4 chances to stop him. They stuffed up all of them, right? And he looked brilliant. But if a team does well, you don't see that, right? The keeper, first of all, doesn't come out. There's no flick.
If guys like Van Dijk are coming at you, you're not getting past them. That's right. Yeah.
And so when you defend well, those moments don't happen. And you know those moments where you see Ronaldinho nutmegging and basically doing a circle around a defender before, just making him look like
quite
a
often
idiot.
happening in the La Liga. But
very often.
Yeah.
And that does not happen when you're up against good players. And
No.
those magical moments, the most amazing moments that you'll see, and they don't exist.
No.
And that is the mystery to why teams look like they had a bad game when in fact their opposition just turned up. And Liverpool did quite well to hold the ball and keep United to the chances that they did give them, at least in the first half, because they were dangerous. Manchester United,
they were,
and they if they continued their way, they would have scored more goals, but they didn't. They pushed off them at the end, and Liverpool came in and they scored. But I think. Do you have anything else to add to that?
I think it's a wrap.
I think that is a wrap.
Yeah.
There may have been a bit of overlap because we had some audio issues earlier. We're not sure what we said twice, so forgive us for that. But thank you for listening. Thank you for... Well, I don't know why I'm thanking you. This is our show. But thank you. Thank me.
Thank the people.
Thank you. Thank the people for listening.
Yeah.
Thank Cos for being here.
Yeah.
Thank me for being here.
If you're taking time out to listen to us, I mean, jeez.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
We're not that good.
Make sure we're better than the pundits, though. Check out our...
but the pundits are on TV. That's the problem.
Check out our YouTube channel. That has a few videos on there which people have grown to love and enjoy. We've got a...
Yeah, which Premier League team should you go for?
Yeah,
that's one.
Still there, still relevant, even though we made that 3 years ago.
Some teams aren't in the Premier League, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's okay.
Doesn't matter.
And some teams that we said are going to be solid and ever stay, but that doesn't matter. That's okay.
It doesn't matter.
Because the top 6 is still there.
We don't know what we're talking about, but that's all right.
But anyway, thank you for watching. If you like the podcast, share it around, pass it around, subscribe to make sure you can hear when the next one comes out, because it can be a bit sporadic, but...
and get well, Abdul.
Yes, get well, Abdul.
Get well, Abdul. Get well, Abdul. Please get well.
We're sending our good wishes to Abdul, who was sick and couldn't come in today. He was meant to come in, so hopefully he'll be here next week. But until then, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, talk to you whenever.